Hello, surprise. In between the live stream video, I'm going to have to probably yell at my pets. I'm so sorry. So they are running loose today and they are just crazy, but I had the day off from work. Yay. So I'm home. So I didn't get your video made for this morning, for Wednesday morning. I like to have a video up at 8:30. So I thought, hey, why not go live instead? So I've got a couple projects I've been working on. I'd love to hear how you guys are doing and what projects you've been working on too. Happy early Thanksgiving Day to my neighbors here in North America. So, hey, Thanksgiving is tomorrow. We're excited about that. Mara's home from school. Yay. Hi, Brian. Hello. Hello. So I wanted to talk about cables today. So last week or 2 weeks ago, I made the 3x cable blanket tutorial for, hey Sharon, for Brenda's, the Snowberry Blanket was the pattern, and I was showing a beginner cable experience. Hey Carsey, nice to see you. Hello. And the pets are just crazy, so hopefully I don't have to yell at them too much. Hey, Carlene, good to see you. So anyway, the Snowberry blanket, cable blanket, I did this 3x3 cable. And I so enjoyed doing that tutorial that I decided to take the 3x3 cable that Brenda bored in her Snowberry cabled Afghan blanket and make it into a cowl for Mara, because part of my Off to College series, she wanted a big cowl because it's very cold and windy at Indiana. So walk into class. So I took maybe three or four. I'm not sure exactly how many. Minnie, what you doing? Behave. 3 or 4 big hanks of universal deluxe worsted. No. Deluxe chunky. It was the chunkier yarn. And I made this cowl. So I used the tutorial of the cable and then the simple cable also just on the edge, and I just improvised the pattern to make this huge cowl. And I'm suspicious of what Minnie is doing over there in the corner. That makes me nervous. Hey, Minnie, behave, honey. I don't know why she's hanging out there. She's hanging out where she doesn't belong. So anyway, I made this big cowl for her so that it is super warm and squishy under her coat. She can fold it over. She can just really keep the wind out. She can pull it up over her face. She can pull it up as a hood if necessary. When it's, walking to class, if she doesn't have her hat on, she can fold it down and make it like a double layer. So what do you think? So should I write this pattern down since I already did a tutorial for you? I think I might. So hello, Brad's mom. Hello, pets. Yes, well, Theo and Hobie's at the groomer today, and Theo and Minnie are running around the house. Hello, Adele. Glad to see you. Yes, happy early Thanksgiving. So I made this big old luxurious cowl for Mara, and so I thought I might just write this down. It might be worth writing down. So anyway, because it's a chunky yarn, it was pretty fast to make, but because it's cables, it's a lot of stitches, so it's good. So you can either leave the cables on the outside like this, or fold it down the way I just had it. So because the back side, you can see the ribs of the unused stitches when you do the cables. So hey, anyway, nice. I hope you like it. So I might write it down. Yeah. And then also I have on my to-do list, and this is almost too warm for the house. It is a wool yarn. So anyway, So let me just pull that off and fold it up. So yeah, so just folded over like this, doubled over, would make a great cowl too. But it's big enough that she can wear it as a hood also, in addition to like pulling it up over her face and just having it fill out her coat. So in addition to that, I want to make another hat because, you know, I don't have enough hats in the house. So I decided that I want to make a new hat. Okay, so I'm going to write down the pattern. Yes. Thank you, Sharon. I appreciate it. Write it down. Thank you, Adele. Okay. So do you guys remember this hat? I talked to you guys about this hat last October because I remember I made it on the plane to Colorado on my way to the Broadmoor where I was at a meeting with Tom's company. And I got to see Marley while I was there. And anyway, boy, lots changed in New York. She doesn't even live in Colorado anymore. She's in Indiana. Okay, so I made this hat, and I forget what we called it. It was something like, it was a joke. It was a joke name because I originally made the hat for my husband on the plane to Colorado because he had forgotten a hat, and it snowed in Colorado, but he didn't want it because it was not plain enough. And I forget what I called it. Anyway, so Mara actually wore this hat the other day to a football game. And so I thought, I really like the pattern, but I might like to do more cabling since I just had so much fun with the cable cowl. I think I'm going to remake this hat. Well, not this hat. I'll leave this hat the same, but I'll remake the design. And I think I'm going to add another cable in here somehow. But I haven't decided, but I'm feeling kind of inspired to play with more cables since I played with the cables on that cowl because that was so much fun. So, and that cable is so simple. Like it's, you only cross over like once and then even cross over. So you only cross over it's like every sixth row. Come on, cats, behave. Because it's like a front post double crochet row and then a single crochet rest row and then a double crochet row and then a single crochet rest row. So it's like, it's only like every fifth or sixth row that you actually do the crossover technique. And so that I kind of like the boring rows in between to break up the tension of the crossing over rows. So I think it's a really great cable pattern because it's only hard once every fifth or sixth row. And that's not even hard. It's just that's the row you have to pay attention. And then the rest is just easy. And I do like projects that are kind of meditative or like I can just not think and just watch TV or ride in the car or hang out with the family or watch a football game or whatever while I'm doing them. And that's a great project for that. So I've had so much fun with cables that I think I want to do a cable hat of some kind that's more cable-y than the simple cable that I did here, which coincidentally is really the exact same simple cable that Brenda had used in the Snowberry blanket that I then reused in my design inspired by hers of the cowl. So anyway, so I think I'm going to play with cables a little bit more. And what I have in mind for cables is I have two balls of chic sheep yarn in this gray color, platinum. Chic sheep in platinum. I guess you can't really see the gray real well in this lighting because I have bad lighting today because I'm not in the dining room, I'm in the living room. But it's a nice dark, I guess it's kind of charcoalish gray. You know what it reminds me of? Like a really a really dark cat. You know, cats who are the really dark gray and their fur is really thick, not the light gray like tiger kitties, but the cats that are dark gray that have the really thick fur this is that color. So this yarn is also called Platinum. It is Chic Sheep yarn. I love this yarn for lots of reasons, but mostly because it's machine washable and wool. And so it's an affordable yarn. I think people are starting to have trouble finding it now that Red Heart sold their company to Spin Right, which is in Canada, and I think they're making some decisions. So I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that this yarn, the Chic Sheep yarn by Marley Bird for Red Heart, is now being managed from Yarnspirations. So if you love this yarn as much as I do, and you're having trouble finding it, make sure that you let Yarnspirations know that that you love the yarn, so that they keep it around, because they don't know unless you buy it or unless you tell them. So anyway, I have 2 balls of this, which I think is perfect. I think I generally make, this is the driftwood cap. I happen to have a bunch of hats just here because Mara went to the football game the other day, and I brought out 6 hats. I'm like, which one do you want? Which one fits your coat? Which one matches your makeup? And so I had 6 hats out for her to choose from, and she ended up choosing this one to wear the other night. So, but I have these handy too, these driftwood caps, and I normally make these beanie style hats where it's just like a skull cap. I generally make that, but she really, really loved the new white one that I made for her, the greenery hat that was in my book. And that one is a skull cap, but it's slightly more voluminous in the back, a little more volume in the back, so it slouches down just a little bit, I call it a dopey hat, like the Seven Dwarfs hats. So I think I'm going to make a cabled hat out of Chic Sheep yarn that is slightly more slouchy in the back than the skull caps that I normally wear. Anyway, so what do you think? So I guess I really should get to it, huh? And not be uncertain. I need to just go for it. And so I am in between projects right now. So I'm trying to decide what I want to do next. I want to continue to make a few more items for the Off to College series. So I think the cowl is going to be part of my Off to College series. I have some other lovely, yummy Barocco yarns that I'd like to do for the Off to College series. I hope you guys are enjoying the Stitch and Read projects that I'm doing on YouTube, where I'm kind of reading along a pattern with you so that you can see how to read a pattern and how to actually stitch it. So love the idea of a slouchy hat. Thanks. So look at one of my favorite hooks. Guess who got a hold of this? Guess who thought it was a stick from the yard? Oh, I'm so disappointed. I might have to ask for some sandpaper and try and smooth this out, but I'm so disappointed. One of my favorite hooks, and the handle's all chewed. And then also Hobie got another one, and then this one's got some bite marks in it. It's like, dang it, I cannot leave anything out for this puppy, and I have to admit, I'm so excited he's at the groomer today, because 1, he's going to look great when he comes back, but 2, I'm not dealing with him right now. So instead, I'm dealing with the cats who are fighting with each other. Yay. Hey, be nice. Be nice. I tell you, they need supervision, these cats. Like Minnie. Well, Minnie needs supervision. You know what Hobie did the other day? Oh my gosh. So it must have happened when I opened the refrigerator to get out a gallon of milk. So the milk is at the top. At the bottom, in a bowl with no lid, was 1 tablespoon of butter that I had left over. You can see where this is going, can't you? I had 1 tablespoon of butter left over from a recipe And so I didn't want it to like get lost in the fridge. So I just dropped it in a bowl and I put the bowl in the door of the fridge on the bottom where I keep other butter. I don't know why I keep it down there, but I do. Anyway, so there's a bowl with 1 tablespoon of butter and it was still in the wrapper. But, you know, I had like cut it off and left it in the wrapper and it was in the bowl. And I think this is what happened. I think I opened the fridge, grabbed the milk, did not see Hobie grabbing the butter and taking off. Closed the fridge, went about my business, came back. Hobie's running around with a butter wrapper. I'm like, wait a minute. I know that I closed the trash cabinet and put the rubber band around the doorknobs so he couldn't get in. So, like, he didn't get it out of the trash. He got it out of the fridge. He got a tablespoon of butter out of the fridge. Thank goodness it was just 1 tablespoon, but he's a little dog. Like, that's a lot. So, anyway, so now I know I have to move the butter and anything that might be attractive to him up to higher in the refrigerator. I was like, how in the world did he even get the refrigerator open to get the butter wrapper? But he must have just snuck it when I was looking up, kind of like a little magician. You know, it's like, oh, my attention's up there. He's going to grab it down here. So a little pickpocket, my little. But anyway, I need to fix my hook. So this is my I hook. No, it's a J. It's a J hook. So one of my favorite hooks. And then this one is the one I just used on the cable cowl. I got to come up with a good name for that. And this is an N size hook. The N size hook is what I used for the off to college cabled cowl. I guess that's what I'll call it, the off to college cabled cowl. And so he's chewed on both of them now. So why can't he chew on something less precious to me, like a pen? Like, anyway, I guess he knows I like it, and he likes to chew on wood. Hey, Janet, hello. So, anyway, cats are bratty by nature. Yes, they are. Yeah. Okay, so I am going to use, I think, my J size hook and I guess I better hide these, even though Hobie's not home right now. He will be home later today, and he will find them. And I'm going to start my new cabled hat in this platinum color of Marley Bird's Chic Sheep yarn. And if I need to think carefully as I'm designing, like how many stitches I will need to make the cables, because that plus any like blank regular uncabled stitches is how many I will need to make a multiple. So like for this one, this cable takes up 6 stitches. It's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it takes up 6 stitches. And then the regular stitches next to it, I have to decide how many regular flat stitches I want next to it. And the cabled stitches plus the flat stitches equals 1 repeat. So I need to figure out the math on how many stitches I want in my repeat, depending on which cable I use and how many flat stitches I use, and how close together the cables are, like how many stitches in a repeat I want, so that when I start the crown of the hat, because I will do it top down, I need to have the right multiple as it comes down, so that the body of the hat will end up with the multiple that I want after I've made all the increases. So I'm thinking it through. Like I'm in the percolating stages of designing right now, because I want to, I don't want this one. I feel like I really like it, but I want something this time that has less flat stitches in between cables. And I got to figure that out. And also, as the hat increases, the number of stitches increases, but the multiple will stay the same. So I want to make sure that even if the pattern, excuse me, is nice and dense with cables at the crown, that as it grows and expands, that like more and more and more and more space, like I don't want this much space in between my cables next time. So I got to just do some thinking. I have to maybe even get out my pencil and pen, maybe just start stitching. Often, because I'm an organic designer, I'll just start stitching and see what happens. I don't know why, I generally always start with a multiple of 6. I feel like it's the most not variable, very, what's the word I'm looking for? Not variety. It's the most, gosh, what is the word I'm looking for? So I want to pick a multiple that has the most possibilities for designs. I feel like the number 6 is awesome because you can do every other stitch, you can do every third stitch, you can do every 6th stitch. And then, so it's a very versatile multiple. It's a very versatile multiple, a multiple of 6. So, but yeah, flexible for sure. But I think the versatile is the word I was looking for. And, but I think maybe if I'm, depending on how many cable stitches I want and how many flat stitches I want, and knowing that I'm going to be increasing and then I don't want too much flat space, I can either introduce another cable in between cables, or I can have it be super dense in cables at the top and then less dense as it goes around. So I'm going to play with the idea. My first attempt shall be, I think, playing with the multiple of 8 this time. So I think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to play with the idea of a multiple of 8. Now, I have no particular reason why I'm picking 8, except that I kind of feel like 6 is very versatile, but it might not be quite enough for what I want. But I need to get a pen and paper and figure it out really before I start. But I might just start stitching because I'm kind of anxious to start stitching. So I think I might do that. What are you guys all working on today? Math makes your head hurt. It is so much a part of crocheting though, but it's really only little math. I mean, when you think of the multiple really the biggest multiple I think I've ever seen is 14 or 16 or 18. You don't really have to do math bigger than that. I think you guys have probably seen in my videos when I'm oh, I need to, chain a multiple of 6, and I'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's oh, okay. So I didn't even have to do the math. I only had to do math up to 6. Of course, I know the math, but at the same time, it's when I want to make sure that my multiple is right, I'd rather chunk it in smaller pieces than not. So anyway, I am going to get started on my stitching, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and I will be seeing you real soon. Thanks everybody for joining me. Bye.